Chairman of the Knesset Christian Allies Caucus, member of Knesset Robert Delatov, our host today, member of Knesset Sharon Haskell, dear member of the Christian Allies Caucus, Rabbi Yehuda Glick, member of Knesset and member of the Christian Allies Caucus, Tommy Waller and his lovely wife and family who are here with us today, Sophia, who did an incredible job organizing this, friends from all over Israel. It's an incredible honor to be here with you and to have you here with us in the Knesset. You know, when we started the Christian Allies Caucus in 2004, we tried to build a new relationship between Jews and Christians in the 21st century. Our idea was to build direct lines of communication and cooperation between the leaders of Israel and Christian leaders like yourself around the world. And that cooperation led to a new, vigorous, and independent activity of cooperation in governments all over the world. Today we have 37 sister caucuses around the world, made up of 1,000 members of parliament who work to take their biblical support and turn it into real political action. We call this, yes, we call this faith-based diplomacy. And today, faith-based diplomacy is the most important diplomatic weapon we have in our arsenal. Faith-based diplomacy was responsible for 27 anti-BDS state legislations in America today. Faith-based diplomacy was responsible for the Republican platform that was just passed in July, the most pro-Israel platform in American history. We have 2 members of Likud here. We hope one day you adopt such a pro-Israel platform. Faith-based diplomacy is responsible for Nigeria voting in the Security Council against the Palestinian state, when Reverend Adebayo signed 2 million Christian signatures and told the president if he wants to remain president, he will vote against the Palestinian state. And there are dozens and dozens of examples, and it's exciting to be a part of it. And the secret sauce in faith-based diplomacy is you. It's the grassroots Christians who work with the Christian leadership and the pastors to put pressures on their politicians to stand with the state of Israel. And so this cooperation is not just a great thing and exciting and fun, but it's also crucial to the survival and the success of the state of Israel and the well-being of its people. But more than that, it's exciting. It's exciting to see, like we saw mentioned in the video, the proof of God's existence. Amen. It's exciting to see the prophecies being fulfilled before our very eyes. We always knew that the nations one day would come up to Jerusalem for the Feast of Tabernacles, but we didn't know what that would look like, unless you paid attention 2 weeks ago and saw it for yourself. We knew that the nations would be the watchmen on the walls of Jerusalem, but we didn't know what that would look like until we saw Christians standing in Jerusalem through thick and thin, and 2 intifadas, 3 if you count the last one, standing with the state of Israel. We knew that God would send a hark unto the nations, and the Gentiles would carry our descendants in their arms and on their backs back to Israel. But we didn't know what that looked like until we saw the hundreds of millions of dollars and volunteers pouring into the Aliyah and literally bringing back our sons and daughters and their arms and their backs. But I would say that probably the most important prophecy that we're seeing fulfilled today by the work of Hayovel and the thousands of other organizations that volunteer for the state of Israel is summed up in a psalm. Psalm 126:1. And I'm going to read it. When the Lord restored the fortunes of Zion, we were like dreamers. We were filled with laughter and we sang for joy. And then the nations said, look what God's done for you. And then we said, look what God has done for us. Amen. What a joy. And I think that's the importance, the major importance of what you're doing. I know that it's incredibly crucial when Tommy wakes up at 5 a.m. and goes out to the field and pours 3 a.m. and pours his blood, toil, and sweat into the land of Israel. I know today there are people in Ukraine, Christian volunteers, waiting at the airport to help Jews come home. Very important. I know there are food banks in Jerusalem, where people wake up at 6 a.m. and serve our needy for 12 hours on their feet, rarely getting a thank you. But I think the most important thing about this work is that when everyone does this together, this is you saying, look what God has done for you.
Amen.
And I have seen it through the last 14 years of the Christian Caucus. Jews and Israelis look at this work and say, wow, look what God has done for us.
Amen.
What a joy. So I'm here to say thank you.
Amen.
Yesher Koach, may God be with you. And may you all reap the blessings of Jerusalem. Always know that when you're here in Jerusalem, you are truly home. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reinstein.